Hey everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Judge Jodi, Paxton Road TV's new player ratings show, where we'll be rating our loved and not so loved Tottenham Hotspur players throughout the Premier League season. I'll be joined every week by a guest or two where we'll give our thoughts on our players' performances and just have a bit of fun, really, because as we know, supporting Spurs is filled with many highs and many lows. I'm joined today by my very first guest, Paxton Road TV regular, Stuart Gallop. Stuart, welcome to the
Hello.
show.
Hi. Hopefully I
Hi.
won't lose my voice.
Thank you for coming on. I guess after yesterday's performance, I'm not expecting you to have a voice today. So what a performance for the first match of the season.
Yeah, it
1-0 at
was.
home against the champions.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's in a weird way, like the sort of last 20 minutes were a little bit stressful, but even at that point, I didn't feel like we were really in trouble at any point. You know, we seemed really confident in how we were set up and
Yeah.
how we were playing after we got the goal and stuff like that. So just that alone was such a massive change from what we've been seeing last season, where it was sort of like we'd go a goal up and then it would just feel like they were under so much pressure, and it was just one mistake waiting to happen. So,
Yeah.
no, if this is the tone that Nuno's set in for the season, then touch wood, it's going to be a good one. So,
100%, I agree with you. I mean, I wasn't expecting such an amazing performance by the squad as well. Like apart from, pretty shaky period in the first 10 to 15 minutes,
yeah,
we were on fire, weren't we? Like you said, it's
yeah.
very unexpected, but always welcomed.
Yeah, well, like we were chatting about off air, like the challenge of sort of coming into that game against the sort of current champions, who've got a very stable team, very stable setup, just signed Jack Grealish. In terms of sort of like their sort of route into the game, it is a hell of a lot more positive than sort of, we've only just had Nuno come in, all the drama over the summer with the management search and very sort
Yeah.
of negative atmosphere around the club. Then you've got the whole Kane thing going on, which was still going on leading up to the whole game and during the game and stuff. So
Yeah.
to go into that game and then get a result and shut them up was beautiful. Beautiful.
I am so jealous of you being there. The atmosphere must have just been insane. I think, like you said, we were talking about it off air. I couldn't imagine anything better for us after everything that we've been through. Like you said, the last probably 2 to 3 months, especially, has been hard for us Spurs fans. But I think that's definitely what's been needed for us.
I mean, it just shows you the sort of the power that the fans have when everything's sort of, when we're all sort of in unison and stuff, when everyone's sort of got the same that almost like positive mindset and stuff, because like that last sort of 5-10 minutes when everyone started sort of going crazy with the flags again and the sort of, are you watching Harry Kane chant started, and that just went on for like 5-10 minutes. And I think that did genuinely sort of give the team another sort of level to go to. And that's the sort of atmosphere, like I've always said, like we have to get that place rocking like we did when we were at White Hart Lane, because at times White Hart Lane helped beat teams, as in the crowd. So we have to get that back, because that's the number one thing that kills a lot of teams, and they move into bigger stadiums. I mean, the Gooners have been trying to get to grips with it. I mean, even Man City is this sort of mega successful team. It's a crap stadium. It's an awful atmosphere. West Ham are the same. They're struggling to fill it and get a good atmosphere in there. So they've spent a lot of money to give us a stadium that generates a really great atmosphere. We've just got to do our bit. And I think, I totally get why it went the way it was when we were under Mourinho, and obviously then we had a whole year without any fans. So this is our time to sort of just make up for all of that time and just get behind the team. So
100%.
hopefully we will.
You mentioned Harry Kane there. I mean, a bit of a controversial question to you, but what do you think the score would have been if Harry Kane played yesterday?
It's a difficult one, because I think the thing about this whole situation with Kane is that it's allowing the team to actually play in quite a different way in our attacking style, because we're a lot more fluid than I think we probably would be under Kane. So a lot of people talk about Kane as a focal point, and I think that's quite a good sort of term to use, because everything went through him. You look for him, and then he'd either sort of feed someone else, or he'd obviously drive forward and goal, or you'd feed him and he'd have a shot.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's sort of like we don't know who's going to drive forward. We don't know who's going to end up with the final ball, because it's very much off the cuff, and they're being very fluid, moving around, changing positions and all that kind of stuff. And I think in a way that's a good situation to be in. How Kane could potentially fit into that if he comes back into the team, that's just, we'll have to wait and see. But there was a couple of chances where, Bergwein and Moura and stuff, and that's the thing that's always been levelled at them, is just being clinical. And there was definitely that chance at the start of the second half where we could have gone 2-0 up, from Bergwein sort of getting out on the break and stuff. And I think that's the point where you're like, oh, this, like he needs to start banging those in, or someone else might come in. If it's not Kane, if Kane's not part of the team anymore, I'm confident we'll find someone else. And then we've got Brian Hill to come in and
agree,
take some of those chances as well. So it's all good. I don't really want to sort of think any negative thoughts about yesterday, because there wasn't really much to be negative about. So we'll just have to see who lines up against Wolves and stuff.
No, I totally agree with you. I think, I think this definitely gives Son a lot more, potential to grow as well. And, we'll get into the ratings anyway, but I think, let's get into those, shall we? I mean, before I do that, guys, just a reminder, please hit that like button and subscribe to Paxton Road TV. We had over 300 people on our post-match stream last night, which was absolutely amazing. And we really appreciate all the support we've been getting from you guys. So thank you so much for that. But let's get into our ratings, shall we?
Let's go. Hugo.
Let's go, Hugo. First up, we have Hugo. I mean, first question, I guess, to you, Stuart. Do you think Lloris is staying?
I think he will. Obviously, he'll be here for the season, but I think Paratici has made it very clear that Galini's his successor. It's clever business. I think if we were going to offer Hugo a contract, I'm pretty sure it would have happened by now. Could still happen. He's got a year left, but I think we just need to get to a point where we need to start bedding in a new keeper. And Galini's got a really brilliant personality and presence and stuff. He's only had a sort of couple of pre-season games so far, but whatever I've seen of him, he sort of exudes a bit of confidence, and that's exactly what we need. So Hugo is an immaculate servant to the club, and he's got us out of so many holes so many times. So he's been great. But at the end of the day, with the club, it's the same with Kane. The whole club has to move on. All these players age to a point where you've got to get the next guy in. So we'll see what happens. Whether we'll see Hugo.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say we're going through a rebuild, aren't we? And like totally agree with you. It's it's I think there was a moment when we bought Galini and I thought Hugo could be on his way out. But then, I think Alfie Whiteman's now going on loan.
Yeah, after Alfie went out on loan, that sort of just firmed all that up. So whether it ends up being during the season or something like that, Hugo gets offered another year or something like that just to help the transition. Yeah. Maybe I wouldn't be against it, but I would like to see more of Galini this season, which I think
agree.
I'm expecting him to play on Thursday, to be honest. So we'll see what happens.
Hope so. But anyway, on to Lloris, to our main man from yesterday. So in terms of ratings for Lloris, I mean, I gave him a 7. I think there was one little blip early on where he was beaten to a cross by Fernandinho. But other than that, I thought he had a decent performance.
I mean, I was probably a little bit too generous with my ratings overall, to be honest. But that's why I've given him an 8, just because there was that sort of cross, or I can't remember if it was a cross or a corner, and he sort of flapped it a bit. Which, like when Fernandinho headed it, I thought that was dropping in, because where I was sat, that's where it looked like it was going. I was like, oh bloody hell, here we go. Hugo Clanger, early doors. But thankfully, it went by. But after that, because it was within that sort of early 10, 15 minutes where we were a little bit just trying to get to grips with things for a bit. He was, he did his job. He was really aggressive coming out for crosses, and he made a couple of sort of just close near post saves and stuff like that. But again, he didn't really get, like, we didn't have to see any sort of Hugo double save worldies, you know, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Which is good. You know,
I
he didn't
think
have to
so.
try and save a penalty, which is even better.
I know. When De Bruyne came on, I was a bit worried, but well, not for the penalties, but just in
just
general.
Him around. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I don't think he had a whole lot to do during the match, especially for a City game as well.
Yeah, it was good. It was good, and his
like
distribution was good as well. I think he's.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they've been working on that pre-season. He definitely seems to be a bit more confident on the ball now.
Yeah. And then there was that epic save he made from De Bruyne in like the 84th minute or something like that, which I thought was awesome as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think overall, I think he did what a goalkeeper is expected to do.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's the thing you want. You want a dependable rating, because if your goalkeeper's man of the match, that's generally not a good sign.
Well, it means your defenders aren't doing their job, does it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We've got a good setup going on, I think, from yesterday. Yeah. But moving on to those guys. So Japhet Tanganga. Oh boy.
Man.
What can I say
I'll tell you
about
something,
this
a little
boy?
story that happened after the game last night. We're at one of the stadium bars, right? And they have loads of little bands and stuff around the stadium, which is really cool. And they were doing a song, and they started doing like the Musa so and everyone just went no, Japhet Tanganga, and then everyone just went mental. And it's like, that guy is an absolute, like, this guy.
He's a weapon, right?
Like the first minute when he clattered into, I can't remember whether he clattered into Sterling or whether he clattered into Grealish, but that absolutely set the tone for his performance, and he just didn't stop. He didn't let anything get by him, and it wasn't just. I was saying this to some of the guys I was with yesterday, is that it wasn't about him just blocking and stuff like that and going out for throw-in or something. He was going in for tackle, and he was winning the ball, and he was moving up with the ball. And that is like, we haven't had a right back doing that for us for God knows how long. Probably since Kyle Walker, to be fair. So I think, he's obviously, there's the rumour of him going on loan to Galatasaray and stuff like that. And I think he's given a very good impression that why should he go? If we end up with just Doherty and him, and then maybe someone else that's coming in, I'd be more than happy. And he deserves his chance, man, because every time that kid's played, and he's just, especially against the bigger teams, he always shows up as well.
Yeah, he does. He really does.
And it's just, he just has that, he's just had that issue where he's had a run of, 2 or 3 games, and then he picks up an injury, and then he's out for a few months.
That's my
problem. And he's got to start that process again of trying to get back into the team. So, again, touch wood, good luck to him. Hopefully, this is his time now, because Nuno seems to be really impressed with him.
Yeah,
definitely. And he's definitely my man of the match as well, Jodi. So you can add that on.
I mean, I agree. I've always been a massive fan of Japhet, and I was just really disappointed last season that we didn't see more of him. I know there were injuries and things there as well, but he's just always been such a star for me.
When you have gems like that, you've just got to utilise them as much as possible. We can't let these guys just sort of fade away. And that, again, is the exciting thing. What we seem to be seeing about Nuno is that he's sort of almost selected a batch of these young guys. Scarlett, Skip, Pascozzi,
really good.
which is awesome. So hopefully we'll see, again, Thursday, we'll see a lot more of them, hopefully. And throughout the season. But Tanganga, the interesting thing you've got there, that stat of 4 fouls, right? That is a garbage, because that ref in the first half was horrendous. The stuff that he was giving fouls for. So if you actually put that out as a correct rating, I think you probably have 1. That he actually probably went a bit too hard. But Grealish was just going over like a flower. It was absolutely ridiculous.
Do you think, I mean, I felt like we didn't have anybody that was kind of having that leadership role to come up to the ref and, correct those mistakes. I think we're kind of lacking that in our team.
I mean, I don't know whether it showed it much in the the broadcast footage, but there were little conversations going on. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Like hojbjerg was definitely sort of giving it
Yeah.
some, but just doing it in a very sort of quiet, like,
Subtle
ref,
way.
you're being a bit of
The right way.
an idiot here. So, but thankfully he actually came to his senses a bit in the second half and started actually giving us some decisions. But but overall, Jodi, like,
100%.
it was absolute joy to watch that performance from him, and like the reception he got when he came off was incredible as well. Like when he had to walk past the south stand and getting his standing ovation, everything was brilliant. So really happy for him.
Oh, bless. Oh, good on you, Jaffet. All right, next we're moving on. So Davinson Sanchez.
Yeah.
I mean,
would you ever see that number? Based on last season, based on last season, I wasn't even expecting to see him again. I
didn't think we would see him either.
An 8 out of 10.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, for me, I was so impressed with him. This match, the match prior against Arsenal, I mean, he's doing everything I would expect a good centre-back to do. Making challenges and blocking when needed. I remember there was an amazing header up to the midfield to give Moura a shot on goal. Like, his long passes were on point. He was getting balls up towards Son as well.
And again, that fouls number, that's brilliant. That's brilliant, because that was one of his biggest problems, that he used to give away stupid free kicks in really dangerous areas. And I think the Copa America, by all accounts, has helped him, because apparently because of the run that they had in the Copa America, he's come back feeling a lot more confident and stuff like that. And again, I think he's one of the ones that, and I was one of those people that was sort of quite happy to lay into him and say, get him out and all that stuff. But
we're all guilty of that.
but that's the thing. It's like, if you see a glimmer of something under Nuno, I think you have to sort of almost give Nuno and his team the benefit of the doubt and just say, right, if they think he can do something this season and sort of just see how he goes, let's do it, because we can't get rid of them all, because we won't be able to get them all out this summer, and we can't. There's only so many players we can get in as well in any one time. So for me, because there was a season, I can't remember how many seasons ago it was, where he was absolutely immense.
That's why we brought him in, though, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And again, like many players, he got absolutely destroyed under Mourinho. Mourinho destroyed his confidence, and
the Mourinho effect.
It's absolutely ridiculous. So but like, he was, again, the way they were set up, where it was the game plan was basically just to stop anything coming into the box from the wings.
Yeah.
He just blocked it. If anything got past Tanganga, which was very rare, to be fair, he was just there. He was a wall. And it was just a really, really solid, dependable performance. And it summed his performance up when he tracked back, when De Bruyne sort of got past him briefly and did one of the best sliding tackles to win the ball I haven't seen for a long time. And the roar that went up.
I was going to say, the crowd would have been amazing.
93rd minute, about a minute left of injury time. You couldn't ask for anything better, just to sort of really get to grips with that last few seconds. So again, brilliant.
Such an amazing performance. Do you know what? I just really hope he can keep up the pace against the smaller teams. As I know, he has a bit of a habit of showing up against the bigger teams, but hopefully now we've got Romero in. We'll give him a bit of a kick to consistently start playing well.
But that's all the biggest teams. All the biggest teams have competition for places, it's how Nuno's going to manage that, because we're seeing it with how Tuchel's having to deal with this at Chelsea, and he seems to be managing it really, really well. So if we can go down a similar road, then hopefully we'll be in a good position. There's enough games, like, if you think about it, if you broke up decent cup runs and totaled that up, and then totaled up the league games, you're talking a very similar number of games across the season.
Yeah.
So if Romero ends up being the primary guy for the Premier League, Davinson can still do a hell of a job, and who's not to say that he doesn't partner Romero. We don't
Oh, well, I
know.
was
We
going
don't
to
know
say,
what
I
this
mean,
final setup's going to look like.
we're getting onto Dier, but I was going to say, what would I would probably partner, from what I've seen, Romero, Romero, Romero with
You say
Sanchez.
Romano, I say Romero.
No, I've got it in my head now. With Sanchez, I think they'd be a much better partner in my mind.
Well, the way I potentially see this going is that I think we might end up signing another centre back, and
yeah,
Davinson and
we
Dier
need
could
to
end up
though, don't
effectively
we?
being that sort of second string pairing.
Yeah.
But we'll see until the transfer. I've said this before. Like until we get to the 1st of September, we see what the squad is.
Yeah, but
We
still,
don't know.
yeah.
It's all in flux a bit. So, yeah, well done, Davinson.
Well done, and then well done to Eric Dier.
Yeah,
again, another
Yeah.
one that you just can't fault.
No,
Eights all across the board again.
Yeah. This is going to be an easy one for you this week, I reckon.
It's going to be easy. I know. I don't need to be a judge this week. I mean, for me, I think Dier showed some really good leadership qualities throughout the match. I could see him really communicating with the other players and making sure that they were in their positions and stuff, especially like during the corners. He was doing such a good job at that. I mean, that's his job, but he was really on point with that yesterday.
We haven't seen the calamitous Dier, have we, so far?
Not yet. But then remember back, 12 months ago, Dier was doing pretty well at this point last season as well. So I am a bit worried about
where it goes.
Start of the season kind of, bounce and all that kind of thing. But I mean, I think in the first half of last season, he was struggling with his concentration, making the last half of last season, making some very silly mistakes. But yesterday, he was really on it and he just looks so much more focused. So I really hope he can, keep that up going through the season.
You've got to wonder, like, what is it that Nuno has done in the background that's, look, we're only one game in, it's a long, long, long way to go. But like Dier's played, pretty much all the way through pre-season. He had one mistake in the Leighton Orient game, I think, where he sort of let a near post ball go across him, which was one of the things he did a lot last season, which was sort of really basic errors. But after that, he's looked really solid. He looked great in the other sort of the Chelsea and Arsenal games, and again he was really solid today. He just did what he needed to do, and sometimes they don't have to be flash. They don't have to be doing anything overly impressive, but just stop them scoring. That's it. That's all I want from you.
Just do your job.
Yeah,
I agree.
So
another good one. Another good one.
Yeah.
Shall we move on then to Sergio Reguilon? Reggie. I mean, I think he's really stepped up from last season as well. I really enjoyed his performance in pre-season as well. Yesterday's match, he was also on good form. I think he had a really solid game. Lots of defending to do. I just think City were holding him back and he was struggling to kind of move forward and make any real damage there.
I think the problem I think what they wanted to do is to let Reggie sort of bomb forward. But I think I seem to remember, I'm pretty sure it was in the first half where he managed to get out and he ended up getting caught. He ended up getting tackled and caught out of position. And I think after that, he didn't do it as much. But in terms of his the sort of interception stats he was really, really good at anticipating passes and sort of intercepting them basically, and sort of carrying the ball out and getting it up to sort of Dele or right the way up through to like bergwein or Son or something. So
he doesn't miss any chances that come his way, I don't think.
No, and I think again it's just like he is a confidence player, and his confidence, like at certain points last season, he just looked like a deer in the headlights sort of thing. He didn't really look like he knew what he was doing. So
he wasn't the only one.
It's great to see what we knew we were getting when we signed him, because he was such a good defender when he was at Sevilla and stuff. So I think again it's just sort of the only thing that I would say is that they seem to be targeting Tanganga's side, because they were doubling up with Sterling and Grealish. So on his side, it was more or less just Mahrez. And I think the thing with Mahrez is, as long as you show him onto the side that makes him have to use his weaker foot, you can sort of keep him a bit more quiet.
Yeah.
So how he ends up going against different challenges from
teams.
Liverpool or Chelsea or Man United or whatever.
Yeah.
But as a first game of the season, this is all about building confidence and all that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Great, it was great. Again, that's why I've given them, pretty much all 8s and obviously a 9 for
I was trying to be
a
little bit more kind of sterner and on the kind of judge side for some of mine, but
you be the bad one. You be the bad. You be
it was
bad cop.
Such a hard. Well, not a hard. It was a very easy match to judge, really. But there wasn't really anything to fault from any of them. So I tried to tried to do that where I could. Moving on to Mr. Skippy, Oliver Skip. I was really happy to see him start over Winks yesterday, but I kind of was expecting that.
Yeah. I don't think we'll see Winks now.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's not a bad thing, is it?
It's not a bad thing. Skip, he's really impressing me every time I see him. I think he started out a little bit shaky, giving away that free kick early on.
In that first sort of 5-10 minutes when we were under the cosh a little bit, I think it was just sort of just trying to get to grips with how Man City play, because they do start very, very quick and they're very intense, because that's how they're trying to sort of impress their sort of will on the game.
Yeah.
But that's again, that shows the character that Skip's got, because if Winks had done that, and I mean, don't get me started. Winks
we could do a whole show on
that. Winks would have done that, and he probably would have just sort of gone through a big chunk of the game, just sort of going into himself and all that stuff. Yeah. Whereas Skip just got on with it. He just picked himself up, just realised, okay, I haven't got as much time as I thought on the ball.
Yeah.
Just crack on. And after that, again, that's why I've given him that solid sort of A, is the fact that we will not to play Man City and not to just be completely bombarded like they normally try and do, just is testament to the midfield. Because at the end of the day, that's the if you're trying to defend from the front, a lot of the time it will go past the attackers, but that's the next point where we can really sort of try and stop them. And Skip just managed it well, and he did a couple of really clattering challenges, which I absolutely loved.
He was really composed as well when he was doing the challenges. Like he held himself really well, I thought.
The fact he's only 20 is just bonkers. He's got so much. Like this guy could be absolutely immense for us. So
I'm so excited to see his progression, throughout the season and the years to come. I think he's going to be one to watch for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Shall we move on? Pierre-Emile Hojbjerg.
Yeah, this is where we've flipped on this one.
Yeah, I mean, for me, another phenomenal performance by our Danish Viking. I think there was one moment where he had such an amazing run and he passed back to Bergwein to get the corner. He was just
I think he needs a bit of shooting practice, because he did have a couple of good positions yesterday where he managed to get into the box. But the reason I gave him 7 for yesterday was just mainly he did look a little bit leggy, I thought, at times. And obviously he came off, I'm pretty sure he got subbed off towards the end, if I remember rightly.
Yes.
Where's my
so
he wasn't as consistently imposing as he has been when he was at his sort of peak last season. But I think he's played the Euro, he played all the games in the Euros, and obviously all the emotional stuff and the Ericsson incident and all that sort of stuff. So I think he's barely stopped all summer. So and he literally just sort of finished his, because he got married and stuff over the summer as well. Yeah. So he didn't really stop, and then just came straight into one day of pre-season training, and then went into the game. So I'll forgive him a little bit, but he just, again, him and Skip. I mean, that's what we've always been hoping for. It was just like we needed to find someone else that is consistent like him, so he doesn't feel like he's got to do everything, because that was how he survived last season doing the workload that he did. I do not understand. So
I agree. I think for me, the reason I gave him that extra point was really about that leadership role. So I think
Oh
he is a
yeah,
massive leader in that position, and the way that he was working with Skip to kind of like make sure that they were flowing really freely. So I think that was kind of the
you could
only
always
reason.
see him talking to people and communicating and just sort of telling people where
Amazing
to
teamwork,
go and all
I
that stuff.
think.
He's brilliant. He
Yeah.
needs to be for me, he should be captain this
I think
season.
so. I think so as well. And I mean, you know, we've got Lloris coming out in a year, so we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Moving on to Dele Alli. I mean, do you want to go or?
Yeah. So with Dele, it was really interesting watching the game yesterday because there's a few people behind me, because they're like proper old boy season ticket holders, right? And they were whining about Dele the whole time. Like, what does Dele do? Dele doesn't offer anything. You know, he's rubbish. We need to sell him. And I got really pissed off at one point. I turned around. Sorry if I'm, for swearing or whatever.
Okay.
But and I just said, like, you need to shut up because there's been a couple of times where you've been having a go at Dele, but it's actually bergwein who did something. So you're not even
not even watching
pointing out the right player. So get that right.
Yeah.
And I think the problem that people have with Dele is that everyone thinks he's going to be
he's the wonder
Dele,
kid
the Dele that we first signed, and he's scoring 20 goals a season. He's not that player anymore. All right, he's going to be playing a different role, which we've seen through all of pre-season. He's been playing this deeper role.
Yeah,
and he did exactly what he had to do yesterday, which was to break up the game, to get tackles in, to slow the ball down, and then to help the transition into attack. And he did that perfectly.
Yeah.
He did exactly what he did. And apparently he ran more than anyone else in the pitch yesterday. He ran 11 kilometres. So you cannot tell me that he doesn't work because he's outworked everyone on the pitch. So,
his fitness is definitely improved under Nuno. I mean, look at him compared to last season. I agree.
Lo Celso can't do that job at the moment because Lo Celso can't play 90 minutes most of the time. And he can't do it to that box-to-box intensity that Dele was doing yesterday. And Ndombele sure as hell won't be doing that job. So at the moment, it's sort of like Dele's got an opportunity to really sort of latch onto, it's not the old role, it's not the Dele of old, but it can still be just as important. And, I'd love to see him. I've always hoped that. Yeah, well, it'd be great. and in some cases, that if we end up
the new Dele,
we get someone else in, we get another player in, or Lo Celso starts and stuff. He might move further up the pitch. But the thing about it is again,
defensively he was on point, right? Couldn't ask for anything more.
Yeah, there was a couple of times where he properly did that sort of, not a last ditch because we weren't under that kind of desperate kind of sort of situation, but just really well timed tackles and interceptions, which is what we were really, really, really good at yesterday. And Nuno's latched onto him. Nuno really likes him by the looks of it. So I am really looking forward to seeing Dele this season and seeing what he can do.
I really hope we can see just a glimmer of the old Dele back. I mean, it may be bigger and better for Dele. We'll see what happens. Let's just hope Jose hasn't squeezed too much of the life out of him. But,
Dele just wants to play, doesn't he? He went from playing 30 odd games a season to 7 games last year, and they weren't even all starts. So for him, just being out there and starting games, he'll be loving that at the moment, and that's what you want. Build his confidence up because he is probably the definition of a confidence player. If his confidence is high, the guy's a legend.
Yeah, 100% agree. Shall we move on to Mr. Stevie B, Mr. Steven Bergwein? 8 all round.
Okay. I actually do think that should have been a 7. Actually, in hindsight, but I got all.
Well, do you know what? I actually gave him a 7.5. So, and then I bumped it up a little bit because
you're feeling generous.
Yeah. I think he was a massive help in driving us forward.
He was. Yeah.
He had amazing, we could see he had amazing couple of good chances there, but obviously finishing is his issue. We all know that. We've seen that time and time again.
That chance to make it 2-0, and that for me is I don't know. It's really difficult because how do you can't just give someone confidence. You know, if you can
Yeah.
inject it or just say something to them and they've got
He
it,
needs
great.
playing time. I think
He
last
needs
season he
time
didn't get
and he needs
enough
goals. He
time, did
needs
he?
goals. He
Yeah,
needs
he
goals.
does.
And unfortunately, the only time that'll happen is if he gets enough minutes on the pitch. He's getting in the right
Yeah,
positions, which is a good
yeah,
start.
yeah.
And like you say, like him, like Son, Bergwin, and Moura, if they click, that front three has the potential to be absolutely deadly because the amount of times we got away yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
it was just like those that last little pass or like you said, that last shot or something like
Yeah.
that. We could have been 2-3-0 up at
Well, I
one
remember
point.
there was one, I think in the first half where we played it up to Son, but then Son just took too long to take the shot.
Yeah,
But,
that's it.
Bergwijn could have
That's
got
it.
the assist there and
Yeah,
it would have
there
been
was
good.
probably
So,
about half a dozen times where if it was that one different pass or done something a little bit different when it had come through to them, it could have
yeah,
been a lot better for us. But again, he's got those attributes. He's very, very quick on the break. He's great at dribbling.
yeah.
It's just
It's
trying
just the
to just
finishing,
get some
isn't it?
goals. Just get some goals,
Yeah.
and I
But
think
we
he'll be
see
all right.
it. I think we've seen it with some of the really big players as well. I remember Salah went through a bit of a
Yeah,
drought there as
yeah,
well last
exactly,
season
exactly.
where he was trying to
Yeah,
get that golden
he's
that
still
didn't
a young
happen.
player as well. He's only 23, I think, so he's still pretty young.
Yeah.
It's just hopefully he gets given the opportunity to stick it out. And we've got Wolves away. That could be a good game for him to try and sort of get a goal. It'd be interesting to see if he plays on Thursday,
Yeah.
or whether they'll sort of introduce Hill into the team in his position or something.
Yeah, well, I hope that we see Hill. I really
Yeah,
do.
yeah. But I think that's a great option to have. Like those two fighting for that place,
yeah,
is a great problem to have.
100% agree. Moving on. Our boy, Heung-min's son,
Sorry.
Sonny, my goal scorer.
Mm.
Do you know what? I was so upset on Saturday because I was trying to decide if I should put Bruno Fernandes or Son in my fantasy team. I knew Bruno would get like 1,000 goals,
Yeah,
but I just really wanted Son on my team and I couldn't afford to
yeah.
have them both. So
Oh
I'm just
man.
happy he at least got one for me.
I was like that as well because my first sort of couple of days of the fantasy football, I was on like 5 points or something. I was in a really, really bad position,
I
and
had
then
about
like
eight.
after the game yesterday, I'd gone up to 47, and most of
Oh,
that's through bloody Son. So
yeah.
because I'd made him captain as well,
Oh,
so
well done.
double points.
Double points. Well done.
But Sonny's just Sonny, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's absolutely relishing being the main
Yeah.
man.
Being the
Right?
leader. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
absolutely loves it. So the
Yeah.
only reason I gave him an 8 was because of there was those couple of times where he just made that wrong last decision, and that was that. That's why I just dropped him down to an 8
That's
for
what
me. But
I
great
agree. I
goal.
think there were a couple of moments where he just took too long to take the shot. I think for me, I rated him up just because of the goal. I kind of gave him that
Yeah,
point
yeah,
because
yeah,
he got the
yeah,
goal. But
yeah. Of
I
course,
agree.
yeah.
I think there are definitely a few moments in his performance that could have been
Mm,
improved. He
yeah.
looked a little bit lost in the first half, I think, but I think he's just still trying to get
Mm.
used to that, like false nine position where he's playing.
Yes, yeah. Because
Um,
if you think about it, like Son, Bergwin, and Moura have hardly ever played together, so
yeah,
they're still sort of getting to grips with their sort of playing relationships and
yeah,
getting used to each other's like moves and touches and stuff. Like once they get that better understanding, like I said, once that clicks,
yeah.
it's got so much potential. So I just hope they get the chance to let it develop a bit because it could be brilliant. And just seeing Son at the end of the
Yeah,
game,
he just
just sort
loves
of doing
it.
a lap of honour sort of thing, and
It just has my heart.
he
He's
yeah he is the leader of the club now.
I'm all there. I'm here for it.
Mm.
Big up, Sonny. I think,
Yeah, love him.
you want somebody in the team who's going to have that leadership position, who wants to
Yeah,
be there and has passion for the club. So yeah,
yeah. I
I'm
was
all
on one of the Bob Hotspur's streams earlier on, and he one of the other guys on the stream was saying that apparently the new contract that Sonny signed, he's still on less money than Kane and Dele. So the fact he's sort of signed that contract and he's
saying.
still taken less of a salary is just like it just
Yeah,
shows how much he wants to
how
be at the
much he
club. It's not
loves
all about the money.
it.
He
Yeah.
just loves being at Tottenham, and he was saying,
Mhm.
himself, he could stay for another 10 years. He doesn't want to go anywhere else.
Oh,
So
he is just
you
the
know,
dream. Just the
yeah,
dream.
yeah. I'll definitely go to his testimonial.
Yeah, big up, Sonny. We love Son. All right, Lucas Moura. I've been extremely impressed with Moura throughout the whole of pre-season. He's just got so much stamina, that guy. He's like an Energizer bunny. I mean, he just keeps running up and down the pitch. He was also defending really well as well. I remember he had a really good tackle away from Gundogan. He was playing the ball over to Bergwein quite a bit, I think, but on occasion it was just a little bit too hard, I think, for me. But yeah, you know, I think I can't really fault Lucas for his performance yesterday. For me, I think he was kind of on par with Tanganga for man of the match. I mean, Tanganga was probably a little bit more up there for me, but Lucas was just all over it. Like, if he can keep up this, you know, throughout the season, which is, I think, Lucas's faulting, is that he can't, like, you know, I haven't seen him be able to keep this stamina up for the whole season. I think he does have a little bit of a dip in his performance throughout the season. So I think if he can continue having this aggressive kind of, you know, energetic display, I feel like we could do some really good things with him.
I think, again, like Lucas is very similar to Bergwin in the fact that, you know, they've been at the club, but they haven't ever had really long stints in the team, whether that's through injury or just sort of being dropped. And both these guys need really good runs because they are really good players, and it's just about them feeling that confidence that they are starters and that they are going to get good time in the team to really get, like Lucas Moura, like you were saying, like ever since he came into pre-season, he's just been at it, absolutely at it. So he definitely deserves to be starting these games. And again, yesterday, like you said, the energy, the runs, the tackles, everything was absolutely spot on. The only reason, again, that I dropped him down a point really was it's just there was those couple of instances where, like you say, like the pass was a little bit short, or he chose the wrong option. And again, you know, just repeat it. Once that sort of stuff, that understanding comes, I think he'll be there. But like the little flick that he did to set up the run to when Sonny scored, but I don't even actually know how he did that without like dislocating his hip or something. It was. I watched it back a few times. I'm like, how has he actually done that? And then literally turned and run up the pitch. It was an incredible touch. And you know, he's again, he loves Tottenham. He loves being at Tottenham. We just need to give him time on the pitch because he will work for us, and that's what we want.
Yeah, agree. I think, especially now, you know, I don't want to get into the Harry Kane stuff, but with potentially no Harry Kane, we just need to have players up front that we can rely on.
I just want players at the club who want to be at the club.
Be at the club, yeah, me too.
And that want to give everything for the badge and put all the effort in, you know?
Yeah, agree. Moving on to our subs. So
okay. I don't think I rated subs.
No, I didn't rate them either, but just a little quick you know, breakdown. So Gio Lo Celso came on for Bergwijn in the 76th minute.
It was a good little cameo. He actually he did a good job in helping, sort of, again, because Gio's really good at breaking up play and stuff like that, because he's quite an aggressive little player. And again, he's really good at holding the ball as well. So like in that sort of last 10 minutes where we were trying to keep possession a bit more, or just sort of hold the ball in the corner a little bit to sort of try and drive the time down. It was just he did what he needed to do when he came on. And this is going to be the conundrum that we have. It's a good conundrum to have. Is that when everyone's fit, is Gio going to be battling for Skip's place? Is he going to be battling for Dele's place, or are they even going to use him a bit further up, and he might play where Bergwein plays or something like that? So it's a very good situation to be in. It's just it's who are going to be the main guys throughout the season, because everything that we know about Nuno is that he likes to have a consistent first team, which is brilliant, because I used to lose the plot with all the changes that Mourinho would make all the time, because no one ever got consistency, no one ever got to build a run in the team. So
stop living in the past, Stuart.
I know. I keep going on about that.
I agree. I'm 100% with you.
But Gio is one of those as well, where he came in and he's not really got started yet. He's not really got started, and I think I saw a few bits from the Copa America, and he did really, really well. And I think having Romero at the club is going to do him the world of good, because those two are good mates.
So nothing but, good vibes. I think with all of those guys together, I think we're going to have a pretty solid squad on our hands.
And if he can help get Martinez in, I'll love him even more. That'd be brilliant. Agent Gio.
Oh. Matt Doherty, I mean, he came on for Tanganga in the 82nd minute. Not a lot to say again, but I think for him,
I will say about Matt. Sorry for interrupting.
No, I was just going to say he helped to not ensure that we didn't concede any goals, but
no, that's great. Yeah, and the only thing I was very nervous when he came on, just purely because Tanganga had done such a good job. I was really nervous more for I don't want Doherty to do something that ends up with them equalising or something, because it would ruin what Tanganga had done for 86 minutes or 82 minutes, and then it won't do Matt Doherty's confidence any good, because he's again another player that's had his confidence just totally destroyed last season. It's again another great dilemma to have, because we know he's a good player because he played really well for Wolves, and that's why we bloody signed him. It'd just be interesting to see
Nuno as well.
Exactly. So it's just whether he's going to fall into the category of he'll play like the cup games and the European games, and then Tanganga might be, or Tomiyasu, if we sign Tomiyasu or something like that, he might be. Those guys might be the Premier League guys, but these are all great. It's been a while since we've been in a position where we've got generally two good players for each position, and we are getting very close to having that situation. So
the Paratici effect.
It is.
I'll be quiet now. Yeah, I know.
We should rate those guys as well, because Hitchin and Paratici were properly going at it.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that stream. I was
absolutely brilliant.
Endeared by that video I saw of those guys. Yeah, it was lovely. I mean,
maybe we should do a Paratici and Hitchin rating for the next shows.
I think for the next one, let's bring it in.
I would like a Nuno celebration grade or something like that.
Yeah. And then Romero. I mean, he came on just as we hit the 90th minute. I mean, not a lot to say.
It was just
really.
get him on the pitch, really, wasn't it, for his debut?
Awesome to see him start. And I'm really hoping. Do you think he'll play against Wolves, or do you think we're having him for keeping him aside for the Conference League?
This is going to be the interesting one. It'll all be down to his what they feel his fitness levels are like, because you could start him on Thursday. No disrespect to the team from Portugal, but maybe that's sort of it was the same for Brian Hill as well. Is just sort of getting them some minutes in the team, and that's a sort of a relatively easier game. Yeah. Or do they go? Yeah, we're going to start him at Wolves.
Yeah,
not sure, but until we see him properly playing, I'm sure he's going to do a great job. But it's just how quickly, because the Premier League is such a different league to everywhere else. It's just how quickly and how well this is. I mean, at the end of the day, this is Paratici's key signing so far. We spent bloody ages, trying to get this guy in. So I really hope he does well. I really do.
Yeah, I'm really excited for him. And just to, like you say, just to see what Nuno can do with him, and what the team can do with him. I think I've heard so much. I've seen snippets of videos of him. He looks, from what I've seen, to be incredible, and I just want to see him in action, really. So,
yeah, definitely. Yeah. When he's taken on Toby's number, so he's got sort of big shoes to fill as such. So we'll see how he does.
I mean, that's going to do it for our ratings for this week. I mean, like we were talking about, we've got the Conference League on Thursday, and we've got Wolves this weekend. Do you have any early predictions for the Wolves game at all?
I'm going to go for a win, 100%. I think, if we can get going a bit earlier, get an early goal in the sort of, first 15, 20 minutes or something, I think we could get a good result. I mean, I didn't see the whole sort of Wolves-Leicester game. I watched the highlights. They don't, I mean, at the back, I mean, we should be going at these guys. I mean, they've got Cody. I can't remember if Willie Bodie was starting, but there's definitely, you can get at them, very, very easily. So it'd just be interesting to see how they do because they've got Jimenez back.
Yes.
Obviously, they got
Yeah, that would be
Traore and stuff.
see what happens there.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see Harry Kane or Ndombele at all this week?
Oh, definitely. Ndombele, 100% no. No, I was, again, this is something I was talking about on the stream earlier today. I don't think we're going to see Ndombele for a long time because I think he's got some really major, not necessarily just fitness issues. I think what it is with him, I think it's about how he's taken on if he's doing a session, it's how his body's reacting to it. I think that seems to be the problem because on one of the stat websites that I use, his current injury status is overload, which I've never seen that before. So I just think I think because Paratici and I can't remember the coach's name, Ian Clotho or something like that.
Ian Cathro.
Yeah, Ian Cathro. Yeah, and obviously Nuno himself. Those three are so hot on fitness and sports science that he would have gone through an analysis process.
Slim, doesn't he? He looks
really slim.
Proper,
but I think there's obviously a process that they're going through with him to get him. Because I was saying before that the issue I think that we've had with Ndombele up to now is he's obviously got fitness issues, because he's come from the French league. It's nowhere near the level of the Premier League. He's come in, he's tried to perform, but he's picking up niggles and he's picking up little injuries because he can't perform at that level at the moment. So he's then out of the team. He's then got to try and pick that fitness back up. And unless you're a very, very fit guy anyway, you can never catch it up. And then he was in and out of the team with Mourinho all the time, really inconsistent.
Ryan Mason never played him.
No, exactly. So for me, I don't think he's ever got to the peak fitness level that he's meant to be at to play consistently in the Premier League. So I think what Nuno's saying is that we won't play him until he's ready, because if we play him early and he breaks down, that makes it bad for the player because he's back into that process of trying to recover. And it's bad for the team because he's not doing what he's meant to be doing. So I think, he's got 4 years left on his contract or something. He's still, 23, 24?
Yeah, he's still very young.
I think they're just going to take and just spend the time getting him sorted out. Because the thing is, we all know this, that the talent is ridiculous.
It's insane, isn't it? You just don't give up on something like that. You have to put the effort in. When you've got somebody like that with that star quality, you do. I feel, people can say he's lazy. People can say all these things that they want about him, but he does have the talent. And I think if you 100%. Can put in the work there to make him a top player, why not?
Yeah. So, and like I said to you before, if you're saying, okay, Ndombele's going to come in and replace Dele or something, so unless Ndombele's going to be putting in 10k runs,
going to happen.
Which isn't going to happen.
Not
so
this season anyway.
no. Well, it might do when he's ready to go, but it's just it's not there yet. And the fact they've left him out of the Conference League squad and stuff like that, I will be gobsmacked if he's anywhere near the bench for Sunday. So and Kane. Your guess is as good as mine, mate.
Let's not go anywhere near that. That's a whole nother show.
I'm fed up of talking about Kane now.
It's not my issue.
The fact that he wasn't at the ground and he hasn't posted anything about the win or anything.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
It's so telling, and he's really letting himself down now. He's really ruining the legacy that he's created for himself. And he could have gone out on a high. He could have gone out with our blessing and stuff like that, because transfers happen in football. That's football. But because by all accounts, PSG looking like they might be letting Mbappe go this summer. And that's an absolutely huge player to lose out your team. But that's what happens. Sometimes they leave.
It's football. I think it's just being honest and open to your fan base that have been there for you the whole time. Just come out and tell the truth. Really, I think that's all that a lot of Spurs supporters are looking for, is just a bit of transparency and just a bit of.
But he's in the squad for Thursday, apparently. So if he's
he was meant to be in the squad for yesterday, wasn't he? So anyway,
so we'll see.
We'll see. But anyway, Stuart, I think that's that's it for our show today. So thank you so much for coming on and being my very first guest.
That's all right.
Will you come back again?
Yeah, I'll be up for it. Yeah, no worries.
Oh, thank you so much.
Hopefully we'll be.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I'm hoping I'll be doing like averages of 8 all the time.
Yeah.
That'd be great. It'll be a boring
Positive.
show, but it'll be great for the season.
Well, I was going to say it's a very positive match to rate this week, but I'm sure there'll be
Yeah.
some very guilty verdicts coming up throughout the season.
Yes.
As we progress through the season, I'll be looking to nominate players for Crime of the Week as well. So this might include some on and off pitch activities. So watch out for that.
Okay, I'm gonna be mindful of that now.
Guys, just a reminder to please hit that like button and let us know what you think in the comments. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show today. I've been Judge Jodi. He's been Stuart Gallop. Everybody stay safe, and I'll see you next week.